So Substack works best when writers treat it as a portfolio and not just a diary. Let's talk about it. One of the most common things that new writers say to me as a writing coach is that they don't have any writing samples to be able to start with. Maybe they want to be able to write for magazines. They want to be able to write for some sort of a publication. It could be their workplace newsletter. It really doesn't matter. They always say that they don't have any writing samples to start with. And that's usually not true. And the real problem isn't a lack of writing, it's just a lack of usable writing. So today I want to really talk about how writers can actually build a writing portfolio and why Substack is actually one of the most practical places for you to be able to start. My name's Helana Black. I've been a professional writer since 2015. And I'm here to be able to help writers, particularly women writers, to be able to build the writing life of their dreams. So what do editors actually mean when we're talking about they need writing samples or clips? When editors are asking for writing samples or clips, they're not asking for perfect pieces of writing, from somewhere. What they are looking for is actually just evidence of the fact that you know how to write. That's really it. So they want to know, can you complete a piece of writing? Have you ever completed a piece of writing? Can they see it from start to finish? Is there any evidence that you understand writing structure at its most basic um, level? Does it have a beginning, a middle, and an end? They're not asking for genius here. Do you have a particular point of view? Are you interesting? Do you have something to say? Or are you just repeating what everybody else has to say about a particular topic? Um, is there any evidence that you understand writing for other readers as opposed to just writing for yourself? Do you understand how to write for an audience? So when you're writing for yourself, you can think of that as, just basic journal writing. However, when you're writing for an audience, that takes on a different voice, right? So editors are not looking for your credentials when they're looking at your clips. Like, they don't really care if your clips are, written in the New York Times or even in your local newspaper. But they do want to know that you have some level of clarity about what it is that you're writing about. And a writing portfolio is really just proof of your thinking. They need to see proof of how it is that you think and not necessarily proof of your status as a writer. They don't really care about that. They just want to know, can you write the thing that you say that you're going to write? So, why does Substack work as uh, a portfolio? And this is really where Substack, in and of itself, becomes useful. Not really as a brand or a business, but really just as a public body of work. And you don't even need a lot of pieces. You can just use your favorite 1 to 3 pieces, and that's really all you need to do. Um, you have a consistent location, a place where you've decided what it is that you want to be able to write about, and you've posted it there. Um, there's some sort of an evolution in your voice about what it is that you've written about. Um, and it also gives you clean links, meaning hyperlinks to your work. You know, Editors don't want to be sifting through attached PDFs of work that you're sending them. And in these days, it's not even safe for a lot of people to be able to send those things. They really just want a clean hyperlink, because editors have um, virus detection software on their computers usually that will tell them whether or not your link is clean. Um, and so when people attach things, they often, a lot of people in companies are just really trained to not open emails that have attachments unless they know who it's coming from and they're expecting it. So Substack will easily solve the I don't have clips problem by removing the gate. You don't need permission to have to publish there. Literally anybody can start a Substack right now for free. I have a Substack myself. It's called Wealthy, Wise, and Whole. I'll put a link in the description so that you can see it. Um, and you don't need permission to publish there. You just need a particular intention. So you can take whatever your particular topic is. And I bring this topic up because tomorrow I'm going to be doing a really short um, introduction to how you can use Substack as part of your writing portfolio for it's called the Mastermind for Food Writers. They're found on Substack. They're a Substack group, and so I'm we'll be talking there about how it is that I use my Substack, have used my Substack, uh, and how I have used other pieces of writing that I have for my food writing. I write about other things, but food is one of the things that I really love writing about. So I'm super excited about being able to speak to this particular group of writers who are excited about their food, their Substack writing about food. And so I'm going to also add a link to the Mastermind for Food Writers. If you happen to really be passionate about food and you would like to be able to link up with other food writers, perhaps that would be a fun place for you to be. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Um, Editors don't read Substack pieces the way that your readers do. When editors are looking at your pieces, they're looking for certain signals that let them know what type of a writer you are and whether or not you would fit in the editorial voice of that particular magazine. So number one, in your article, do you know how to focus on one idea? Because I've read pitches or even potential articles that from other writers, and sometimes their ideas sort of float into 2 to 3 different places. It could be separated into separate articles. That's what I'm saying. And so the editor wants to know that you can focus on one critical point, make your point in the article. Sometimes it's 300 words, sometimes it could be as many as 1,000 words, depending on what the publication is. They just want to know, can you focus on the one idea? Can you open with clarity? Do you know what a hook is? When I opened up for this particular video, I said Substack works best when writers treat it as a portfolio and not as a diary. That was my hook. If you are a person who uses Substack, if you are a person who wants to be able to create a portfolio using what it is that you already have, probably a Substack or something similar, this will help you to perk up. Do you understand audience? I already talked about that a little bit. Do you understand what it means to be able to talk to an audience? Every magazine has a particular audience. You might, and it has a particular audience and a point of view. Um, do you know how to write with intent? And so they're not necessarily asking whether or not your work has gone viral. They don't really care about that. What they want to know is, are you a person that they want to really work with? I don't care if you got 3 subscribers on your Substack. They don't even care about the number of subscribers. I don't care if it's you, your mom, and your teacher from kindergarten who had said that you'd be a great writer one day. Nobody cares about those things. So I'm saying that because you shouldn't let that stop you from continuing to write. So, in thinking about this, one of the things that keeps people stuck or three things that keep people stuck is one, that people are waiting for permission. They're waiting for permission for somebody else to tell them that they are good enough in this moment in time. You don't have to wait for that. Substack and really any other platforms, things like Medium, your own blog, um, I don't know where else. Um, yeah, any place else where you can write online. You do not have to wait anymore. There's no gatekeepers that will tell you that you are in a space where you're ready to write. You can just decide to take the reins yourself and decide, I'm ready to write today, and you can just start a Substack right now. If you're waiting for confidence in something that you gain after you take the first step. If you are waiting for confidence, it's never going to happen. Confidence is what happens after you just decide to be brave and do the thing. In this case, you're writing. So you gain more confidence once you become more brave. You take the step and you say, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Or you take a step back, you do the thing, and you're like, okay, well, I did it. I did it imperfectly, but I learned some things. You gain confidence when you do things that way. If you're waiting for credentials, you don't need an MFA. You don't need a graduate certificate in writing. You don't have to take anybody's class. You can just go write something, put it out there in the world, and improve upon it if you feel like it needs to be improved upon. And you can send it out to editors when you're ready as part of your pitch. So the publishing industry doesn't really even create writers anymore. You get to decide. Writers are people who write. So Substack lets you practice being an author before any other opportunities arrive. And so I bring all this up because I help people learn how to practice pitching for magazines. I've been published in a few different places. I've been published in Essence. I've been published in AARP, the magazine, the printed, actual printed magazine. I've done chef interviews there. I've published in Business Insider. I've been published in Sisters from AARP, which is a very popular newsletter for African American women over 50. Let's see. This year, I was very excited to be able to sign, a contract with Parents Magazine. And I'm not even a parent. I had an idea for a story about the role of aunts, because I'm an aunt. And so I decided to send that in, and I actually sent that in at the end of last year. And in a week ago, I got an acceptance saying that they really loved it. And I went ahead and signed the paperwork to become a monthly contributor to Parents Magazine. So I'm doing my research and putting that article together now. So if you would like to be able to connect with me and be able to see what my pitches look like versus what the actual article looks like after it's been published, I give you 5 of the pitches that I sent to editors. Once they accept it, I write the article, and then they publish the article on their website. I give you the link to that so that you can make the connection between the pitch and the published article. You just go to the link in the description box and you click on it, and you're going to go ahead and put in your name and your email address, and you'll be able to get that right away in your email box. Okay? So you don't need more confidence to start. You just need a place for your writing to live. And Substack, I think, is a really great place to be able to do that. Okay? Substack is a great place. I love it there. So, as always, you can like this video, subscribe so that you can get updates. If you're a writer, particularly my women writers, um, and leave a comment. I would love to be able to know who's here, where are you from, what type of writing are you working on, and if you have any questions, let me know how I can help. And perhaps your question will turn into a video in the very near future. Okay, so thank you. Peace.